Hi, welcome to Touching the Afterlife. Our guest today is Michelle. Michelle died and went to heaven, and she's going to tell us who she saw there. Prior to that, she was haunted by demons in a house that was haunted.
When we first got married, we lived in two separate cities. I lived in Blytheville, Arkansas, and he lived in West Memphis. So, make a long story short on that part, we finally came together um, around November 2004, 2004. I'm sorry, 2004 in Blytheville. He moved here, and he found this house. He found this house for us to move in together so we can become one as a family. And when we first moved in this house, the very first day, our 3-year-old Rashad, as we was moving the stuff in, my friend and I, Pam, we sat down to take a break, and my 3-year-old had went to the bathroom. He come back running hysterically, and that date is actually when it first started, but we didn't we did not I'm not gonna say not pay attention, but it kind of went in one ear and went out the other ear. But he came running saying that he saw a man in the bathroom. And so from that day forward, Rashad was terrified to go in the bathroom. He said the man left out the bathroom and went into their supposed to be bedroom. And he come running, and my friend grabbed Rashad, and she would just hold him because he was shaking. And so we got up looking and everything, but we was like, maybe Rashad, he's just 3, he's, thinking, we don't know what he was thinking, but we just know that he told us that. So it kind of went in one ear and went out other ear. So time progressed. We didn't have nothing strange going on between November, around Thanksgiving, even around Christmas time, nothing strange, anything besides that moment. But it's when God woke me up January the 1st of '05, the New Year's Day at 5 o'clock, which 5 represents grace. And he told me to fast. I was I was waking up out of my sleep, and I heard the Spirit of the Lord say fast. But I didn't know what type of fast, and I didn't know what for and for how long and what kind of any of that. So I just sat still to wait on God to give me more information, because when he speaks a thing, he's going to give details on just about how to do it. So I sat still, and I heard God say, turn on your TV. And I turned on the TV, and I turned onto this gospel network, and they was talking about fasting. And as soon as I turned it on, this minister pointed at the screen. He said, young lady, you just sat up in your bed, you heard the voice of the Lord say fast, and you wonder what kind of fast. It's a Daniel fast. And he had everything on this show so detailed about a Daniel fast and everything. So I was like, I just knew in my spirit that's what type of fast that I needed to be on. So once that show ended, I immediately called my mom and my best friend Pam, and I was like, guys, God just spoke a word to me about fasting, and I'm so excited. I don't know what he's doing, but I know he's going to do something, because he spoke that word to me, and it was directly to me. Um to fast. So they was like, well, we want to join on this fast with you. So once I got off the phone with them, I had prayed, and I said, God, I said, now if you want me to fast, and I know that you do, you got to speak to my husband, because I know in your word it says that when one of the spouse want to fast, they have to get permission and come into agreement with one another, so there won't be no temptation. And so immediately when my husband woke up, I told him about that, and he was in agreement for me to go on this 21-day fast. So that day, I didn't wait till the next day. I started immediately, because I knew God in my spirit. It was like, immediately, go now. So I jumped up and went and picked up my mom and my friend, and we went to the store. We got all the stuff that we needed to be the fast, and we just decided, we was going to come back over to my house to discuss the fast, how we was going to set it up, meaning what time of day we was going to reach out to one another to, to pray, to keep one another encouraged and to stay strong. So we did just that. So I started the fast. So day 1 went fine. Shell was doing just great. I'm praising God in his word. And day 2 was the same. But day 3 was not so much the same. It was not the same. Sickness hit my body, my 3-year-old Rashad body, and my 3, 4 month old baby Ahmad. We all had the flu symptoms, and so we was burning up. So my mother had told my husband, said, take them to the hospital because their temperature is too high. They need to, be seen. So they took us to the hospital. All of us had the flu, and we all got medication and all of that stuff. So as time progressed, my babies got better, and they was healed from this flu, but I didn't. My health began to decrease, and I just stayed having like flu like symptoms. And so then this when everything started to come to the light of what I was encountering in this house, because I know when you are fasting, you are sensitive to the spiritual realm. So you are able to see and hear. The Bible tells us to not walk in the flesh, but walk in the spirit. And the only way that we can walk in the spirit, we have to crucify the flesh so we can be able to walk in the spirit. And that's through fasting. So I was able to see what was going on in the spiritual realm that had manifested, that was already manifested in this house. Now, one morning I woke up. My husband had got us settled. Him and my mom had made arrangements to, to come. As he went to work, she would come and check on me because I was still sick. And she would come and check on the babies. But before she got there this particular morning, I got up out of bed, went to my kitchen to fix my baby a bottle. And our kitchen had this big old door, a sliding glass door that led out to the backyard. There was this white cat sitting at the door. I didn't think nothing of him. Like, okay, a stray cat done came. But all of a sudden I heard this sound, this wind. All these birds, these black birds, like a million of them, landed in the yard. Now, what was strange is that the cat didn't run away. And so I'm looking like this is strange. So I hit at the window, at the glass door. The cat didn't move, nor did the birds. They just continued to stay there. This cat, I noticed as I was moving in the kitchen, it continued to follow my movement. It didn't take its eyes off of me. So I'm like, this is some strange stuff. So I just closed the blind back because I like to have light in the house. That was the reason why I opened up the blind, because I like light to come in the house. But I had to close it because these birds and this cat was sitting right there. So I went and got my baby. Rashad was still sleeping, and I wanted to go sit in the den and lounge a little bit to sit up. And so in my den was these 2 long floor windows. There go this cat done made its way to that window, and it sat in that window. Now these 2 windows didn't have any blinds. They was what I call decorative windows. And that cat was right there watching me. So I'm looking like this cat. So the Holy Spirit was telling me, you pay attention to every single thing that's going on, because you have entered into a realm where demons know you and you are going to know them. Just pay attention to everything. So now I'm like, this is not crazy, nothing crazy. This is spiritual. This is a spiritual warfare that I am now seeing, that I have entered into when I enter into this house, but I'm now able to see because my spirit is now connected to the spirit where I'm able to see. So as time progressed, these birds and these cats, they just kept coming. So I told my husband, so when he got home, I said, babe, I told him what happened. And so a couple of days when he was off, he saw it for himself, the birds and the cats. And matter of fact, this one particular time, he had some friends, some neighborhood friends to come over. They was going to do a little backyard barbecue. That didn't That didn't go how they planned it, because when they was back there barbecuing and just hanging out, these birds came like by the millions, drew them, flew, made them to flee. These people had to leave. These birds was not backing down. And they ran my husband in the house. He was like, "What is going on with these birds?" I said, "Baby," I said, "these birds are not from God. These are sent by Satan. This is a satanic attack. Anytime you have these many birds coming to your house and they done ran people off, something ain't right. Something ain't right. It's not right." So now, as time progresses, my health continues to still remain the same. I'm going back and forth to the doctors, the ER in Blytheville and in Memphis, Tennessee, because I'm still having the flu-like symptoms. But they keep telling me as I go that I'm having a severe case of acid reflux. So not only are they giving me medicine for the flu, they giving me medicine also for acid reflux. Okay. So now February has entered, because all this was going on in January. February entered. Here come a new demon. This dog, this ferocious dog. When my husband and I would try to leave out the door to go to my mother's house, which was down the street, for him to take me there, because he didn't want to, because sometimes I just feel so bad and so weak, I couldn't tend to my children. And he would take me there until my mom get off of work, because my brothers live there, so somebody can be there to help me. This dog just appeared, this ferocious dog. It would not let us out the front door. It would not let us out the front door. My husband will walk to the window next to the front door. That dog is just trying to attack, just to come through this window. So we had a side door in the living room that you could go out and go through the side. My husband went to the side and he had a bat. He got an iron bat, because we didn't have any guns or anything in the house at the time. He had an iron bat. And he had to fight this dog off, fight it off, just so he could try to get us in the car. Now, for that moment, he hit the dog, and the dog, he ran to the side. He ran to the opposite side. But by the time he ran in the house to get us out the house and get us in the car, there was the dog right behind the car. And when he put it in reverse to try to bag up, that dog would just, as fast as it can, run to the front of the car and jumping all up on the car. But then when it laid eyes on me, it ran to my side of the window. And it's just trying its best to get to, just to knock this window, come through straight through that window to get to me. And so this just kept happening time after time. Even when we would return back to the house, that dog would be sent right there in that front door. But my husband, when it got a gun, a BB gun, or whatever type of gun that shoot air cartridge, I don't know what you call it. He went and got that. And so he's shooting at the dog, and the dog it looked like it would just disappear. We wouldn't see, when we would be sitting in that car, which way the dog went. When my husband would take that BB gun and start shooting at it, it would just disappear. So my husband, he would take us out, one at a time. You'll give a shot first, the 3-year-old, then my baby. He run. I mean, he's literally running. And then he'll come pick me up because I was weak. And he would carry me in the house. This is how we had to travel back and forth, out, in and out the house from time to time. This dog would show up. So February, this is going on. My health is still decreasing, but I still remain to fast. My mother and my friend, they still fasting with me. Everything's still going smoothly with them. But me, I'm my health is decreasing. Now, I was only drinking water or herbal tea And my mother and my husband now is grinding up my vegetable like green beans because everything had to be liquefied because I couldn't eat any solid, any whole or natural, raw fruit or raw vegetable. Everything had to be grinded, be liquefied. So this is what I'm eating the month of February. Um, but when March came around, the very first day, I was sitting waiting on my husband to come home. Um, Me and the boys. My mom had just left because she knew he was on his way to the house. And he normally makes it home. He gets off at 7. He would normally get to the house around about 7:30, 7:45. I say about at least no later than 7:50. But this one particular day, evening, I was sitting there and the door opened. The front door opened. The screen door opened. I heard keys. But the strange thing was, I didn't see no headlights of my husband's vehicle shining in the windows that was in the living room. No lights. But I heard these keys and I heard the door open. I get up and go to the living to the den part where the front door was at. The front door and the screen door was completely open. Now the screen door was on lock. You open the door and you push that little suction so it can hold it, it stay open. It was in that position. So I'm looking like, I know my husband ain't here because the car not here. What is so the Holy Spirit said, he has come home, this familiar spirit. This is his time that he will come home. He letting you know he's here. This is a territorial spirit. This is a demonic spirit. This is what you're fighting against. This is what you're fighting against. And I walked through my bedroom. I didn't see anything. But the bedroom Rashad and the mom supposed to have as a bedroom, we didn't do nothing to that. It was just a storage room. My babies did not go in there, and I didn't go in there. That door stayed closed. I opened the bathroom door, nothing. So I said, God, I said, I don't see him though. I hear him, but I don't see him. He said, continue on your fast. You're going to continue to see. So now my husband come home and I began to tell him. So he looking upside my head. He's like, baby, you said what? And what happened? I said, don't you think this is strange when you done seen these animals come to this house like this? I said, That door was open. I heard keys. That front door was open right before you come home. You was not in this house. That vehicle was not parked in the driveway. I said, it's a spirit here. I said, we got to find somewhere else to go because this is a spiritual battle. My spirit is not in agreement with this demonic spirit. You got to go. We got to find somewhere else to go. And I said, God just telling me when I continue to press my way through my suffering, because I'm suffering because I'm weak. My body began to ache. I'm starting to have aching pain, burning pain because I'm having acid. During this time, I'm spitting up a lot of mucus. I'm spitting up a lot of fluid, and it was acid, spitting up acid. So I'm burning my chest from my stomach all the way up. I'm inflamed. So I'm irritated. I'm not having peace. I'm in a place of discomfort. So I'm like, we got to hurry up and get out of here. We got to find somewhere. So my mom and my husband began to look for a place. Couldn't find nothing in the city of Blythe for us to go. Nowhere. Nowhere. So I'm frustrated. And I said, God, what's going on? Because I'm irritated. I'm going back and forth to the doctors. There's nobody that can tell me what's wrong with me to help me. I done had the flu before, but it ain't last. This started January the 3rd. Here it is in March. I'm still having the same issues. This can't be. what they say it is. Something else is going on. But each time I would go into communion with him, he would tell me, stay on the course, stay obedient, stay, press through your suffering, press through your suffering, stay on the course. Don't you get off course, stay on course.
Mm.
So I remember one night, I remember one night, I want to say it was right before my husband's birthday. My husband's birthday, March the 17th. I want to say it was around like March the 13th or something like that. Now my body has started to reject the food and water. I'm starting to vomit now. Starting to vomit a lot throughout the day. So this particular night, my husband had come home, got the children settled and everything, but I couldn't. He had gotten me in the bed, but I wasn't settled because I was in agony. I was in a lot of pain, and it's like it was so unbearable. And I just sat up. I said, "Baby, just sit, just prop me up, and just let me be. Just let me be. I know you got to go to work the next day. You can lay down and go to sleep. Just prop me up and let me sit up." Because when I laid down, it looked like I was in more pain. Um, Looked like the flames, the acid was just inflamed, even though when I laid down. So I just wanted to sit up. And this particular night, from my bedroom, you could see the kitchen table. And I saw him, the spirit. Because now I'm empty. Because now my body has started to reject food and water. So God is emptying me. Now I understand when he tells you that you have to be empty to enter into the spiritual realm. You can't be full of flesh and expect to see spiritual things. You got to be empty. You got to be empty. So I was able to see this spirit for just who he was. This man was sitting at this kitchen table in the chair. He had on a farmer's hat, had on this checkety farmer plaided shirt button down on khaki pants. I was able to see. Nicely, he was nicely dressed. And but he was a tormentor when he lived here. He tormented his children. Because during all of this, not only did I hear keys rattling when he would come in the front door, leave the door open to let me know he's here, I would hear children crying. He was a pedophile. He molested children, and he was abusive towards his spouse. He was an abuser. So he came, got up out that chair, and he walked towards the bedroom where I was sitting up at. And I'm looking at him, he looking at me. He reached down, nothing but darkness. He reached down, placed his hand right here in my chest. It was so cold. I never felt coldness like that before. And when he placed his hand there, I no longer was able, this fleshly body didn't have no control. I was no longer able to speak or to move. He pulled my spirit out of the body. And he had all these chains where he was going to try to bound me and change me up as he was going to take my body, my spirit away from my body. But just when, before he entered out the entrance, the doorway, the TV sat right next to the doorway. The TV cut on, and it was playing this song, something about the name Jesus, something about the name Jesus. And that's when my spirit began to call on the name of Jesus. That's when the word of God, so you got to have something in you for you to have, for the Holy Spirit to bring it back into your remembrance. That's when the Holy Spirit began to remind me that at the name of Jesus, that every demon has to flee, has to bow. They becomes weak at the name of Jesus because it's power in the name. So my spirit began to call on Jesus, 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 Jesus. And I looked, and there was this white cloud, like this white fog, just began to hover in my ceiling, come and cover the complete ceiling. And the spirit was weak. He could no longer hold on to me. And the Spirit of God came and grabbed me, and he took my spirit. I'm looking at my body laying in this bed, sitting up in this bed next to my husband, my sleeping husband, and sleeping babies. And he placed my spirit back. And I said, he gave me new life again, breathed life back into me again. And I immediately hit my husband in the back. And he jumped and said, "Oh, babe, why'd you hit me?" I said, "Baby, you just don't know what happened." I began to cry. And I was sweating. I was sweat. I was wet. He said, "What is going?" I said, "Baby," and I told him what just took place. He just grabbed me. He didn't go to work the next day. He didn't go to work the next day. He said, he said, "Me and your mom got to find us somewhere to go." Because I was just cold. I was cold. Yet I was wet. I was sweaty. And so the next day, he got up and left to go find us a place. And my friend Pam, she came and sat with me. She came and sat with me. She had the baby. She was tending to the babies. And so as evening had fall, and she said, "Oh, Tony, Tony!" She began to holler, "Tony." I'm looking at her like, that ain't Tony. She hollering, "Tony!" That's not Tony, Pam. I said, "Pam, get up and go in that front room." She walked to the door. The door was wide open. The screen. She came with her hand on her hip. She said, "I know I just heard keys, and I know I heard doors opening." I said, "Pam, come sit down." I began to tell her. I said, "In a minute," I said, "because you emptying yourself, God is going to allow you to hear. You in position to hear what I hear." I said, "Just stay sent for a while. You go hear some more stuff." So she said, "Well," she said, "Share what is?" I said, "Pam, this something spiritual is going on. And I don't know exactly what's the fullness of it. I don't have all the pieces." I said, "But just sit here." Then she began to hear the children cry. And she looked down at the baby. She was like, "Can't." I said, "That's not." I said, "Yeah, you hear what I hear because you in the spiritual realm. You able to hear. You ain't gonna be able to see because you're not complete as empty as I am, but you empty enough where you able to hear." She was able to hear those children crying. And I began to go into detail about, with everything. So we began to pray. We prayed, we read the word and everything. She said, "We got to get you up out of here." I said, "I know." I said, "I know." I said, "But no weapon that form against me shall prosper." Because God promised me He's with me. He's with me. So this is the month of March. We still dealing with the animals, the black birds still coming to the house, and that cat first thing in the morning. My husband still dealing with the dog, the ferocious dog. All of this is going on from day to day. It was something going on. I didn't have no peace whatsoever at all. It was something that just constantly attacked. The devil didn't let up off of me. He's giving it all he got towards me. I'm not able to eat anything. Now, the food that they are liquefying is, I can't hold it down. The water can't hold it down. Everything's coming up. I'm weak. I'm fragile. I'm burning on the inside. I'm being tormented. I can't sleep. But God kept telling me, "I am with you. I am with you. I am with you." This one particular night, Matter of fact, it was almost close to the end of March. My husband was still at work. My mother had got the children, and she had to go take them out to go to the doctors and all that stuff. But I, of course, I was too weak, so I stayed at home. I said, just bring them back when you can. She said, well, I'm gonna keep them and and uh, feed them and bathe them and everything, and I'm just gonna keep. I said, Mama, I'm gonna be okay. Pam came and stayed that day with me and everything, and I said, Pam, I told her, I said, honey, I said, you can go on to the house. I just need this time with me and God before my husband get home. She said, okay. I sat there in this recliner chair. I just began to worship God through my sickness. I had a trash can that I carried with me because that's how often I would vomit. My trash can. I would praise God, vomit in the trash can. Wipe my face. I kept a box of Kleenex with me. Wipe my face, go back to praising God. And I had said, though you slay me, yet I trust you. Though I may not understand, God, I trust you. Though I'm going through all this agony, yet I trust you, knowing that you still God and your word is still true, that you are a deliverer. And I know you're going to deliver me. Just hurry up the process, please, because it's going to be unbearable. I'm weak now to where I'm not even able to pick my son up without somebody placing him in my lap. I wasn't able to walk too far without being out of breath, being weak. If I did travel through my house, I'm holding on to the walls because I'm weak. But that particular night, I stayed there. And God, He overshadowed me with His Spirit. He overshadowed me. I couldn't do nothing but just praise Him. Through my pain, I have never all my life. I would give birth to a baby 1,000 times. And you being a woman, know the pain that we go through of giving birth. I would go through 1,000 times than to go through what I had went through in that moment, in that season. He overshadowed me. He told me, I am with you. Keep pressing. Keep pressing towards the mark. Don't look behind, but keep pressing. Keep going. Keep going. Don't stop fasting. Don't give up on me. I just need you to keep going. And I said, God, you said in your word that you would give me strength when I'm weak. And now I am weak. I have nothing left. I'm empty. My body is not my body. My spirit is encountering demonic attacks. But you still with me. I continue to praise the Lord. And my husband, I didn't even hear him come in. Didn't see no lights because it's nighttime now. Didn't see no lights shining in the living room. My husband began to worship the Lord, standing behind me in the recliner. I had been wanting my husband for years to just praise and worship with me because my husband was an alcoholic. My husband went to the clubs on his days off. That was a struggle. The reason why we wasn't together when we first got married. My husband liked to party. He liked to spend money on things that he shouldn't, on women he shouldn't. I would ask him to go to church. Sometimes he would. Majority of the time he would. Because he would just be coming home on the Sunday morning from being out on the Saturday night partying all night long, coming home drunk. Never seen him worship the Lord. But in that moment, in my agony, in my suffering, and I'm praising God, he began to worship him. That was the last time that he went was the weekend before, hanging out. He calling my mama to come see about me, my friend Pam to come see about me. But that was the last time, because that moment God had arrested him. And he became what I needed him to be, what God wanted him to be. He stopped going out drinking and clubbing. He was tending to me. He began to pray over me. So in that moment, we just together praised as one. And I needed that. God needed that. And I said, God, is this what you had me to go through? He said, keep on pressing. Keep on pressing. Don't get stuck here. Keep on going. Keep on going. So I continue on with my day. Worship God in his word. Praying. The month of March, I'm empty. I'm vomiting. Nothing. No water staying in me. Nothing. 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 So this last night that I was in this house, because every day was torment. I got used to these birds and the cats and the dog. I got used to hearing a man come in this house. I got used to seeing him walking through the house. I got used to it. I became accustomed to it. Because God said, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. But this last night in this house, my husband was at work. My mom had came over earlier to tend to me. And she said, Shell, you want me to cook something for Tony? I said, no, mama. I said, let me cook for him. I said, even though I can't eat the food and even though I'm weak, just let me cook for my husband, try to prepare him a good meal. I said, if you just take Rashad on with you, I can handle Maud. You got him sleep. Tony will be home soon. And I got him. Go on and take Rashad. So she did just that. So she helped me prep everything, but I just tended to the food, and I had finished cooking. It took me a long time, but I finished cooking it. I cut everything off, and I went and sat on the couch. Pam had called. We like to watch this show together and discuss the show. So Ahmad, he sleep. I had good babies, good babies. My baby, once my mom or Pam or Tony would take them a good bath, get them that glass bottle, warm milk, they out for the night. I had to worry about it. I had to worry about it. My baby was asleep. He was sleeping in his car seat, and he was sitting next to me on the couch. Mama had him all his covers and everything. Diaper bag, everything was accessible for me. So I'm on the phone with Pam, and she talking. She went to calling my name. And I felt this cold sensation to come and enter back right here again in the middle of my chest. And it paralyzed me. I wasn't able to move. I wasn't able to speak. I dropped the phone because I had no strength in my hands. I was paralyzed from top to bottom. I'm hearing her calling my name. Couldn't respond. And then I began to smell smoke. And then moments later, see smoke coming from the kitchen into my den. Remind you, I cut everything off. Couldn't get up. Couldn't pick the phone up. Couldn't holler to the phone that fell on the couch that was sitting right next to me. The call for help. Nothing. I'm paralyzed. I'm complete. Now this coldness that entered into my chest is all over my body. I'm in a dead state. And my spirit began to call on the name of Jesus. And that's when I seen the light shining. My husband pulled up. He come running in the house because he saw the smoke. He smelled the smoke. He took everything off the stove. He looking for us in the house. We sitting in the den, in the living room. He come in there running. He grabbed the mod, took him to the bedroom where the smoke hadn't filled up the room just yet. Cut the fan on, open the, kind of cracked the windows. And then he came and when he pulled me up, I began to urinate all over the floor, all over the couch. I was cold, filled in my urine. He carried me like a baby. He took me to the bathroom, put me in the tub, cut the water on, let the water run. The water was halfway, and he came, he cut it off. He went to go check on the mod. And this coldness came right back over me. And it entered right back again into my chest. This time it had the back of my neck, and it was forcing my face down in this water. Once again, I'm on mute. I'm paralyzed. I couldn't holler for my husband to come back to the bathroom. I couldn't holler for him to come pull me out to help me. And I'm this close to the water, my face this close. And finally, he came and he saw that I was being forced. He couldn't actually see the force, but he saw my head moving towards the water. He was calling me. He knew I couldn't speak. So once again, he snatched me up out of the water. I urinated all over the floor. He grabbed some towels. He washing me. I was completely cold, like I was standing on a block of ice. I'm cold. Even though he putting warm water, hot water on me, I'm cold. I kept telling him, babe, I'm so cold. I'm cold. And then all of a sudden, I stopped breathing. He ran. He grabbed the mod, threw a mod in the car. He come back. He covered me up with robes, with clothes. He just throwing stuff on me. And he threw me in the car. So we headed down the highway. Now remind you, this is the time that traffic's supposed to be heavy, because it's the time people getting off work, people going to get food to eat. This is a major highway, people going back and forth. Want a car on this road. When we got halfway, he placed his hand on my chest because I'm struggling to breathe. Every breath looked like it was going to be my last. And he said, God, breathe new life in her. Breathe new life. Breathe new life. And as he continued to say that, I was able to take deeper breath. My breathing became easier. The struggle became less. And all of a sudden, this police pulled beside our car, turned this car, made a U-turn. This only vehicle, the police car and our vehicle, made a U-turn. He pulled up beside my husband and he did this, like, I got you. My husband, the police turned his lights on, my husband right in behind him. Every light we had to go through was green. Every light. We went to the emergency room. The police came to my side of the car. Let me tell you how good God is. God tell us that for us to always be kind and generous and loving to one another, because you don't ever know when you entertaining angels. This police came to my side of the car, opened my door, and he said, Tony, I got Michelle. He lifted me up like a baby. He said, you get a mod. Go park the car. And I'm have her in the hospital. And you come on in here. This man carried me. to the hospital, sat me down in front of the receptionist. And when I looked up, he was nowhere to be found. My husband come in and he said, "This is my wife. Where the police?" The receptionist said, "What police, baby?" He said, "My wife was carried in by a police officer. I was parking the car to get our baby out. I want to just tell him thank you for carrying her." She said, "Baby, no police here. I ain't seen no police. I just seen your wife sit down in the seat. When I turned around, I seen her sitting in the seat. I saw her sitting down in the seat. I didn't see no police officer." He said, "No, ma'am. This police pulled up right in front of the door with his lights on. You didn't see no blue lights." She said, "No, sir." I grabbed my husband by his shirt, the tail of his shirt, and I pulled on him. He leaned down. I said, "She can't see what we saw. There wasn't a police that she know of, that she able to see. There was an angel, my angels, that God said he give charge over us. He was one of them.
Yes.
He was one of them." I said, don't question her no more, because she can't see and she do not understand." I said, "That was God sending his angel." I said, "You can just thank the Lord for sending his angels to do his job, and he done a job well done." So they carry me on in the back. They running test after test, test after test. I was so tired of getting poked on and going through every tested area. I was tired. I'm like, "God, I don't, how much more? How much more?" They keep coming for more samples of blood. They keep wanting more samples of urine. They keep wanting more of this and more of that. But ain't nobody telling me what is the root of my problem. Tired, tired, Lord. So when the doctor come in, he told my husband, he said, "She has a very severe case." And my husband said, "You better not say no acid reflux." He said, "Yes, sir." My husband said, "No." He began to cry. He said, "I'm tired, tired. I done seen my wife come in and out. She's suffering. This is not what she has. Check her heart." I'm 23, 23 years of age, a new wife, new mother, 23. Life just now beginning for me. And I'm fighting for my life. I'm fighting for my life. I was this little girl that used to sit up and fantasize about being a wife, because my mother was a good wife. I wanted to be just like my mother. I know a lot of little girls dream of going and being this superstar, but my mom was a superstar to me. I wanted to be a wife. I wanted to be a mother, because she done it so well. That was my desire. And I'm fighting to get that, to keep it, to stay here, to have that. And the doctor told my husband, "Oh, she's 23. She's too young to have any heart issues. I'm not checking her heart." He said he signed off. "Here's her prescription. Y'all get out of here. Take your wife home." I told my husband he was ready. He was ready to fight, because the doctor was so rude. And he refused to have any tests ran on my heart. So I said, "Baby, just grab the prescription." I said, "But we cannot enter back into that house." I said, "I hear the Spirit of the Lord say, do not go back. For my mom has prepared a place for me, for us." It was like 2 o'clock in the morning. I said, let's go to her house. She didn't tell me what she was doing, what she had done, but she had it done when it was time for it to be done. 2 o'clock. We knocking on her door. We ringing the doorbell. I said, Mom, I said, I'm dying. I can't go back to that house. God said not to go back because if I go back, I wasn't going to make it out because the devil was going to come even stronger. Yeah, God is with me. But he said, I'm too weak right now to fight this thing spiritually and in the physical. Can't go back. She said, baby, I cleared a room out for you, for your family. I had your baby brother to move down the hall. He done gave up his room for you. He's sleeping in that other room, which was a very small room. Come on in. I never went back to their house. I never went back. And so I still was sick in my mother's house, but I had a little peace because I was not being attacked by the demons. Had a little peace from that part, but physically I didn't have any. I remember my family came from Mississippi one evening, one day, and they stayed over to that evening, late that evening, come see about me. I remember sitting in the den with them, looking like, is this my last time I'm gonna lay eyes on my family? Because I knew death was right there. I could see him. So I'm just looking at everybody. I'm staring at everybody's eyes. Because that's where the spirit shows, reveals itself. I'm looking at their spirits, praying for them, that every soul that was in that house, that when and I do see them again, because I just knew I was leaving here, that I was see them once again. So I had an urge to use the bathroom. It was a rush. It was a rush. And I told my husband, now this time, I'm weak to where my husband, because the bathroom, my mom had this house, and it was a pretty big house. And from the living room to the bathroom was a mighty long ways for me. It was a mighty long ways. So my husband had to carry me. I'm little. I'm real little. I didn't weigh no more, probably about a good 100 pounds. I'm little, maybe 95 pounds. I'm real little. He scooped me up. I'm just skin and bones. He scooped me up. I said, I gotta use the bathroom real bad. I don't know if I'm gonna make it. I'm praying like, God, please don't let me use the bathroom on myself in front of my family member. Please don't let me use the bathroom on my mama couch. Please just let me make it. My husband picked me up because he saw that I needed to go. He picked me up and he ran to the bathroom. And before he could set me on the toilet, it just come out. And then the same time, while I'm doing that, then I'm beginning to vomit. I didn't know which end to put my, which should I put my head in the toilet or should I put my rear end on the toilet? Because it's both coming out both ends. So he left. He ran some water, some warm water. He said, I'm gonna take you a bath. I'm gonna tell the people, your family, that they have to excuse you for a moment. So he ran and told them to excuse me. He had to clean me up. So him and my mama running to get towels to clean me up and looking for clothes. While I'm sitting there on the toilet waiting, I got real cold, real cold. I started to shake. I knew he had ran in water. I'm weak. So I forcibly threw myself off the toilet and I just pushed myself over in the tub. The water was so soothing to my body. It's like that was my first time ever taking a bath because I was just that cold. It soothed the coldness. And I sat there. I had a little period, a little couple of seconds of relief. Then all of a sudden, as I continued to sit there, it looked like the water turned like Antarctica on me. It got ice cold, and I'm just shaking, cold. So I threw myself back over the tub, and now I'm laying on the floor, naked, cold. My breath became short. Only thing that was big on me was my feet. Feet, they swole. They looked like elephant feet. It was heavy. My feet was heavy. I'm laying there. Tony opened the door and he just threw something on me, threw a few pieces of clothes on me. He told him, gotta go to the emergency room. So we got a whole entourage of people going to the hospital. I know it's gonna be my last. So these people, the hospital was packed that night. And they told me I had to sit out in the waiting room. So I'm just praying. I'm sitting there with my head down. And I'm praying to God, I'm here in this ER with a bunch of people. Please let my body hold in the fluid until they get me to the back. Just help me. Just help me. So my family, they agitated, they angry because they said, why y'all ain't rushed her to the back? They keep going up to the counter. So there was this little girl. She was about 3 years old. Pretty little girl. Long, pretty curly locks of hair, curly hair, flowing down her back. She had so much energy, so much life. She kept begging. She was very persistent. The baby knew what she wanted, and she was persistent in it. And she kept asking her mom and dad, can I get some Skittles out the vending machine? They kept telling her no. She just kept on asking. Finally, the daddy, he gave in to. He said, come on, get you some Skittles. I'm just looking at her because I'm looking like she got life. She got this energy that I need right now. And that baby got the Skittles. Her daddy opened it up. She took 5 Skittles, put it in her hand. She walked over there to me and she opened my hand because I was holding my hand like this. And she opened my hand, took my hands apart, and she opened my hand up. She put those Skittles in my hand. Her parents were like, no. She's sickly. I said, no, she's okay. And she said, these are for you. I got the Skittles just for you. And her mom and dad, she don't look like she want anything. I said, no, leave her alone. Let her be. And she said, I got the Skittle just for you. I said, well, thank you, princess. I said, how did you know I like Skittles? She said, I just knew. And I had to get these Skittles for you. So I'm holding them. Holding the Skittles. When I opened it up, the colors from the Skittles had done melted in my hand. I seen all these different colors. And that's when God began to speak to me. He said, I told you I would use the babes to preach to you. It's because you're getting very weak. Don't you forget my promise. I was holding the promise in my hand. Because I remember reading when God told Noah to look at the rainbow. There was a promise. He'll never let it flood again. That he will not allow the earth to flood again. That was the promise. And he had to remind me of the promise that he would never leave me or forsake me. I was holding his promise in my hand. I held on to those 5 Skittles. And I know 5 is my number. And I know it means grace. I was holding on to grace. Grace was with me. God used that baby to minister to my spirit. Other people saw it as just a piece of candy, but I saw it, God speaking to me through that baby. Because I understand numbers and colors, and I understand the rainbow that it means God's promise. I just held on to it. Once again, they called my name, took me to the back, ran all these tests, and here we go again. Same thing, acid reflux. Acid reflux. No test on the heart. No test on the heart. Send me back home with prescription. Stronger dosage of the same medication. So we got back home, all my family members. It was all in my mom's bedroom. Everybody, we was deep in there. I'm sitting on the side of the bed. Because they didn't go home. My family members didn't go home back to Mississippi. They didn't have to go get no hotel. We family. They go make pallets on the floor. So we all in my mother room. I'm sitting on the bed. They walking in fear because I'm feeling and seeing all of their spirits. They in fear. They don't know what to think. They don't know what to do. So I'm sitting on the side of the bed. And I said, God, I said, you done spoke to me through a baby. I said, I just need you to speak to me with wisdom. I need wisdom. I need wisdom. I need wisdom. So the phone rang. It was my grandfather, my big daddy, my daddy's father, my pastor. Since I've been on this earth, always been my pastor until he went home to be with the Lord a couple of years ago. He called me. Now my big daddy, he's not a phone person. He don't do too much calling. He never, I was 23. My big daddy never made a dial that my number to call me. But that night in Mississippi, and they lived out in the woods in the back. Nothing but trees. My big daddy picked up the phone. My pastor called me. And he said, he called me Shelly Bell. Shelly Bell, I need to speak to Shelly Bell. My mom gave me the phone. He said, Shelly Bell, that's you? I said, yes, Big Dad. He said, baby, I was laying back because he had his, couldn't nobody sit in his recliner. That was Big Daddy recliner. That's where he said. He said nowhere else in the den but in that recliner. He said, baby, I was laid back in my recliner. Drifted off into a deep vision. And I saw you glowing. Glowing. God said, call her. Because you her spiritual guidance on earth. She need wisdom. Give it to her. He said, baby, so I'm calling you. I'm calling you. He said, Shelly Bell, he said, you the one that God has chosen to be the light. You the one God has chosen in this family to suffer persecution and suffering in your body because he got a great work for you to do. He said, baby, he said, I know your big daddy didn't do a lot of calling you as you grew up. He said, but I want you to know that I'm proud of you. He said, you made me proud every Sunday. Because you would be the only grandchild that would come and sit on that front row while the rest of them sat in the back playing paper football, throwing spitball, eating candy, going to sleep. He said, you sat on that front row by yourself. You had a whole row by yourself out in the country. You singing the songs. You paying attention. He said, you watch me as I preach the word. I'm watching your eyes as I move, your eyes move, keeping up with me. He said, then you wanted to be active in the church. You never sat still. You was a usher. You was the youngest secretary that I know, keeping the church finance because you wanted to know. You was the only child that I gave permission to be in the adults choir because you was persistent on it. That you was so determined that you was going to sing. One nobody will keep you from singing the praises of God. He said you was there every Sunday, no matter how late you worked at Sonic. When you got off Saturday, 12 midnight, you was there on Sunday. No matter what school activity you was in, Michelle was there faithful. My old Shelly Bell. He said, that's why God has chosen you, because you've been faithful. God is training you up such a time as this. And I'm here to tell you that you are going to make it. Don't you give up. Don't you give up. And I just began to scream. Woo! God, thank you. Thank you. That whole bedroom began to go into praises and worship. Feel the atmosphere. You know, to have people who that's religious minded just go to church just because they told to go to church. But you actually see them worshiping God, the God who you trust, the God whom you've been serving, the God that who you've been calling on, the God that is with you through your agony. You see your family members praising and worshiping God. That gave me strength. That gave me peace. And I was able to sit up and rise up and say in that moment, let's go. I can do this. I got this, God. He gave me some strength. Because unity, whereas there's unity, there's strength. There's power. They empowered me in that moment. It was about 25, 30 of us in that one bedroom. But they gave me strength. I felt like Moses when his arm got tired of holding it up for them, the children of Israel, to win the battle. They was lifting me up. They had lifted me up. I was able to press on. So the next day, my mom woke up and she said, Tony, you go set everything in order at your job. Because this morning, I'm taking my baby. Because I didn't have any insurance. My husband had just started working there. His 90 days wasn't up yet for insurance and stuff to kick in. I didn't have nothing. And my mom said, I don't care what the cost is. I'm going to pay it. She said, I was up praying all night, walking the floor, outside, walking. And God spoke to me and told me where to take my baby. And she made that phone call to Osceola, to her doctor. That was a large fee. But then my mom had to pay? No. They said, bring her on. My mom threw me in this truck with my babies. And she told my family, just stand still. Just stay still. Just stay. Because I wanted my babies to go. Everywhere. If I went, I wanted my babies to go. Because I just wanted them to be there. I said, take my babies. Bring my babies. My husband left. We left going to Osceola. When I got there, they had a wheelchair waiting on me. They lifted me up out of the car, the truck, put me in the wheelchair, wheeled me on in, immediately handed me a urine cup, told me to go urine, give them a urine sample. They had to help lift me up from the wheelchair to the toilet. They said, we gonna give you a little privacy. We're not going to close the door all the way. We just going to crack it. I'm gonna stand outside your door. When you get done, just tell me you're done. When I got done urinating in that cup and I lifted that cup up, that cup was black, it was dark. And all I could recall was Genesis 2, 1 and 2, where it said the earth was formless, void, and darkness filled the earth. There was darkness filling that cup. It had filled that cup, darkness. So I understood that everything in my body was out of order. I understood that I was void. My body had some voidness going on. I understood that my body was in a state of dysfunction because I got this darkness that I'm holding in my hand. And I understood that death was in this cup that I had released out of my body. So I began to cry. The nurse immediately opened the door and I gave her the cup. The cup, she took off to running. Another nurse came running and grabbed me off the toilet, put me in the wheelchair, and she wheeled me into this room, lifted me up because I'm about 90 something, 95 pounds. So I'm lightweight. Picked me up, put me on the examination table. And they ran and got the doctor. She was in the room with another patient. I hear the doctor come running. When she opened the door, I yelled out with all the strength that was left in me. I'm dying. Death has entered in my body. Help me. Help me. I'm tired. Help me. Help me. Help me. She just ran and she grabbed me and I just broke down and started crying. She embraced me so tight. She said, baby, I'm going to help you. You not go down on me. I'm going to find out what's going on with you. She said, I'm going to mend you right now. She said, don't you worry about nothing. And I mean absolute nothing. She said, I'm going to tell your mom because my mom was good friends. My mom been going to her for years. She said, I got you. Got you. Because her doctor's office was inside the hospital. So I was right there. I didn't have to travel and go nowhere else. So I went from one end of the hospital, from which was her doctor's office, to another and into the actual hospital. And she had a room already. I didn't have to wait on nothing. They brought me in this room, had me set up, went to hooking all these stuff up on me. And here my family come. They coming. So immediately, they running tests on me. They running tests. And it ran over to days, and then another day, started running tests. She come back and say, well, this is going on there, this going on, but it's not the root. And I told mom, I said, this the doctor, because she said the right word, the root. Because anytime you dealing with a situation, you got to get to the root of it. And see, the other doctors weren't dealing with the root. They was only dealing with a symptom. But she said the root. I said, this is it. I was able to breathe because I know she know what she doing, because she said she get to the root of it. She said, baby, this is the symptoms of something, but it's not the root. So test out the test, out the test, out the test, out the test. She just kept getting the symptoms, never the root. So the final day being in Osceola was when my family, they coming and going. They staying in my mama's house. They coming and going. They came this one particular day, all of them. We deep in the hospital room. Deep, like ants. And I'm feeling fine. This day I'm feeling fine. I'm getting phone calls from people from Mississippi, from my great aunties, my first and second cousins, my people that done moved away. These people calling me. I'm having the strength to able to talk to these people. They blessing my spirit. They giving me strength. People I ain't heard from a long time. They calling. Because see, all of these people that calling, most of my first cousin, second cousin, when I was a little girl, I had to take care of these people. Now they taking care of me. Because a lot of people used to live with us as I grew up. These same people that had to tend to and make sure my mama house stayed in order. These same people now, they taking care of me, making sure that Shell is in order. Her body's in order. They calling me. So I got off the phone with this one person. I'm sitting there, I'm just listening to the conversation they have, and everybody laughing, telling jokes, talking. And I told Pam, that's my friend. She's my sister. She's been with me from day one since I moved to Blythe. We moved here in 2000. I met her in 2000. We've been rolling ever since. She's been always right there. She was right there standing beside me, and I pulled on her shirt. I said, I got to go to the bathroom because she was standing right there. She said, I'll help you. So she helped me up out the bed. And my brother, my twin brother, he lifted me up. And she opened the door. My brother sat me on the toilet, sitting there. Pam's I sitting at the door. So she's standing at the door because they didn't want to close the door on me. She just cracked it just a little bit, not a lot. So now I had a seizure. My body started trembling. I'm shaking. I had a seizure. So they calling and screaming, hollering for the nurse. The nurse come in. She running. She pulled me up. Two nurses, they pulled me up off the toilet. And then they just threw me on the bed. All of my nakedness was shown to my family members. I didn't care because I didn't know what was going on. I'm having a seizure. So they immediately, the nurse come running in, and my family, I'm just, I don't even know what's going on. My mind was like I was losing my mind. My body was not, I was losing control of my body. And so I'm in a battle. I'm in a battle to try to get my body together, trying to get it together. So they finally got it to break. And then they put me on the oxygen machine. Now my twin, I'm a twin. My mama has two sets of twins, but my twin, he couldn't take it. He broke down on the side of my bed. He's a twin. I can't lose you. We done shared this womb together. I can't live without you. He began to pray. I just grabbed him by his head. I squeezed. So I'll be okay. I'll be okay. Just hold on. Just hold on. I'm holding on. You keep holding on. Don't you give up. Because I'm not giving up. So the doctor come in. She said, baby, I done called Jonesboro, St. Bernard's. We moving you. I can't keep you here. I can't keep running tests on you. And I'm only getting to the symptoms because we don't have all the equipment that you need to get to the root. I got to move you to where they can find the root at. They have the proper equipment. She said, don't worry about nothing. Everything is situated. They waiting on you. They immediately rushed me in the ambulance. In the back of the ambulance, I'm hearing everything was going so fast, so fast. All I see people just moving fast. I'm hearing people making phone calls. I'm in the back of this ambulance. That was the best ride I ever had. Because in that ambulance, I was able to sleep. I slept the whole way. They didn't give me anything because immediately when I got there, they was going to start doing tests. I just slept. The peace of God just came over me, and I slept. I was in a rest state. So when they got me there, they had the wheelchair waiting on me. No, not the wheelchair. They had the nurses and the staff waiting on me. They pulling me off. I'm laying stretched on the stretch on the bed, and I'm rolling. They rolling me. They put me in this room. They said, "This is where you go be. We got everything situated, and we're going to get start performing tests on you. We're not going to wait. Even though it's getting late in the evening. We go run these tests on you." So they had 4 doctors waiting on me. They had a stomach doctor, heart doctor, a lung doctor, and a brain doctor. They all was waiting on me. They all entered into the room, introduced themselves, and spoke with my husband and my mom and my dad and my other family members, telling them what was the procedure and what they, what they going to do and all of this stuff. I'm just looking and like I knew I was close to the end of this. So I was able to settle. My spirit was settling. So they run these tests. So they ran all these tests day after day, day after day, day after day. I'm in every test area. But this particular day, the gastrologist came and said, Miss Turner, we're going to put you to sleep. We had to debate on this because we didn't know if we was, if you was able to handle it because you in a fragile state. But in order to see what's going internal inside of you, we got to insert a light inside of you. You got to sign papers. And they said, are you willing to do this test? I said, what you gonna put inside of me? They said, a light. I said, let's go. Because my body was dark. This flesh was dark. I had darkness in it. I need light. I said, let's go. I'm okay. So they wheeled me on to the room. And I remember the anesthesiologist saying, Miss Turner, now some of my people, majority of my people, when they come back, they tell us that they seen pink elephants, pink clouds. Majority of them telling us. So if you come back talking about you seeing pink elephants and pink clouds, it was the medication. I said, okay. So I said, I'm ready. They injected it through my IV. Immediately, suddenly, I hear this mountain of laughter echoing. It's like this laughter was like if I was in the mountains. The laughter was just rippling off just bouncing off the mountain, just very loud. I'm looking around to see where I'm at because I hear all this laughing going on. Then I look down. As far as I could see, I seen all these people sitting down on this golden road, this pavement, sitting in Indian style, their legs crossed. Everybody had on the same white robe, from the youngest to the oldest, from black to white, from red to green, from blue to purple, whatever color you want to say that people was there. All the nationalities, people was there, all mixed in together. They continued to laugh. So I'm like, what is these people laughing at? And then I heard this familiar voice, this sound, this familiar voice. Huh. I said, this is the voice of the Lord. I'm in the kingdom. I'm seeing trees, big as a mountain, having leaves just flowing. No spot of wrinkles on it, no brown spots. Seeing a waterfall with no sound, no splash, just running over, just flowing quietly, no sound. So the grass looked like never. My husband can keep up some grass. We live in a nice neighborhood, and the neighbors always come asking him, Mr. Turner, what you done did to this grass? How you keep your grass like this? He can do some grass, but it didn't compare to what I saw. I immediately want to go and lay down in this grass because I had a sense that it was this where I was supposed to lay down at, this green grass. I wanted to. And then I said, Lord, I said to myself, my spirit, I said, if I'm able to look down and look all around, I must be in the upper position. Who's holding me? Who's holding me up? When I looked down, seen his brass feet, golden saddle with the straps, this long white robe, but only different from his robe and the children, the people that I was in their robe. His robe was the only robe that was trimmed in gold. He had on a gold rope belt that was like a braid, three-cord strand braided together. I looked up, bright as the sun, brighter the sun. The Lord began to speak to me. He said, Shell, you are here. You have entered the kingdom. And I began to say, Lord. When I began to say, Lord, that's all I could say was, Lord, Lord, Lord. He handed me over to my big mother. Now, my big mother, both sets of my parents, we call big dad and big mama. Now, my big mother on my mother's side, my mother's mother, I never had a relationship with her because she died. I was born in August of 81. She died in December of 81. Only saw maybe about 2 pictures of her, but I knew that was her. She had this beautiful emerald green dress on, and it was not flowing. She wasn't sitting with them. She came from the right side of Jesus Christ. It was like she just flowed in. She didn't walk in, she just flowed in. And she grabbed me. She never said anything to me. She just laid me in her bosom as a newborn baby. And I just laid in her bosom. And she placed her hand over my heart and she just rocked me. She just rocked me. And as I laid in her bosom, I began to smell her perfume. It was a familiar smell that I remember when I was on earth, because my father's mother, my other big mother, she passed a couple of years ago, but she was a very classy woman. She had a room that was her room. She loved to doll up. She loved her perfume. She loved her makeup, her dresses, her hats, her coats, and she had this dresser that was filled with so many different types of perfume. But there was this one particular perfume. It was this tall golden bottle that I always used to find myself spraying on me. Out of all of those perfume, it was just that one every single time. I was sniff the other one, but this was one I would spray on me like I'm taking a shower because it was my favorite. It was called Topaz, tall gold bottle. And that smell was familiar. That's what my mother's mother, who was holding me, my big mother, that's what she smelled like. And I was just embracing it. And then I heard this voice say, Red Girl. My mother's side of the family called me Red Girl. Red Girl, my baby. Now, this is my mother's father. I had a relationship with him because he had not too long passed. Maybe a year after I had Rashad, my oldest son. I grew up with him. He stayed down the road, down the street from us in the country. Big Daddy's house. Going to Big Daddy's house. My mama's daddy. Crazy about him because he always came and tended to us. Worked on the railroad. He made sure during the summer he took 2-3 weeks off to tend to his grandbabies. I'm my big daddy. Before he left here, he had a talk with me sitting on my auntie's picnic table. And he told me, he said, babe, I'm proud of you. He said, you always tended to me. No matter how tired you would be, you always, when I come home, made sure you cooked for me if your mama was at work. You made sure my house stayed clean when I was away. You tended to me. God go bless you. You was that one. that I look forward to seeing, because you always made sure that you had old Big Daddy good. You knew when my peppermint got low, because you was getting the peppermints. You would take your money that you worked for and make sure that you would refill the peppermint jar. You make sure you refill my orange juice, because I loved orange juice when I was smaller. You had it replaced before I got home. So this Big Daddy, he said, Red Girl, a Big Mom handed me over to him. He said, you here only temporarily, but you got to go back, baby. It's not your time. He had on the same brown suit that we buried him in, which was his favorite suit. He was a classic man. Loved to dress up. Kango hats. Three-piece suit. Stacy Adams shoes. Same suit. No dust or wrinkle in this suit. And I said, Big Daddy, I want to go back. I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back. He said, baby, you got to go back. You got to go back. You got to go back. I said, Big Daddy, but I don't want to go. It's because I got peace here. I don't feel no pain. I don't feel no burning inside of my body. My body's not, it's not in agony. I'm not irritated. I'm not frustrated. I'm not weak. I'm not in discomfort. I'm in peace. Let me stay. He said, that's not my decision. But you got to go back. You got to go back and take care of my grandboys. Rashad. Remember, Rashad was the only one he met before he left. He said, you got to go back and take care of Rashad and Ahmad. He said, don't you remember being a little girl? You used to tell me stories when I used to ask y'all, gather y'all around and what y'all used to be. So you would be the only one to tell me that you want when you grow up be a wife and a mother. He said, go back and do it. Go back and be it. And I'm just crying. I'm crying. I'm begging. He said, that's enough. And he handed me back over to Christ. And Christ, he said, my baby, I have chosen you for such a time as this to be my disciple on the earth. Are you willing to suffer for my name's sake? I said, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. He said, are you willing to be crucified for my sake? I said, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. He said, from this day forward, you will be able to see angels that I have given charge over you. From this day forward, you already done seen one. You go see the rest of them. And I have activated your gifts inside of you. I have stirred them up. Go back and go to work as my disciple. And I'm hollering, yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, Lord. Then all of a sudden I heard this sound like a mighty rushing wind. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. There was an angel appeared. Christ handed me over. He said, take her back to the earthly realm. Cover her. Get her back safely. She got work to do. He handed me over, and the angel just covered me with his wings. And he had more than two wings, because he had two wings covering me, and the other wings he was flapping to fly. I could hear the sound. And the farther that I got from out of the spiritual realm, it became darker and darker and darker and darker. And when I entered back into the spiritual, in the earthly realm, my spirit, I was inside the elevator. They was taking me back, the earthly people, my two nurses that had been with me the whole time I've been there at St. Bernard. They was taking me back into this room with my family. I was in the elevator and I woke up. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. So I'm trying to take out the IVs on my arm, because I'm hollering, yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes. So the other nurse, when the elevators open up, they hollering, come help, come help. So they trying to hold me down because I'm hollering, yes, Lord. So I'm trying to climb back up. I'm trying to go back up to where I come from. I gave him a fault. They finally got me in the room. When I got in the room, I went to try to climb up the wall. My uncle saw all of my backside of my body because I was trying to climb up this wall with the IVs in my arm, hollering, yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, Lord. Whew! The Spirit of the Lord came and I began to prophesy to these people in this room. Want a dry eye in the room. And the anesthesiologist, the anesthesiologist, he came. He said, baby, out of all my years, and I'm an old man, you a young woman. I have never witnessed what I have witnessed. You are the first that have seen the glory of God. I know you've been with him. I know you've been with him. I know you've been with him. God is with you. Keep on keeping on. So now I'm settled. Whew, I'm in rest. I had this life had to enter into my body. I'm ready to get up and go. I'm ready to eat something, but I still couldn't eat anything. Still wasn't it. My flesh, because I was feeling so good. I felt like a child in the candy store. I had my energy, some fire in me. I was ready to go and cook for my husband and go shopping with my children, with my mom and my friend, and go sit down with my sister and we just go out and me and my sister, we like to watch movies and go chill and watch movies with her. Whew, I had all of that back. I felt like my old self, but a better me. So my family, they went and started getting hotels. And my mom and my husband and my daddy, they went to Walmart to go get some stuff because they knew we was gonna be there for a couple of more days. So I told them I'm gonna be okay. The nurse had told me we got her. I said go ahead because I just needed that time with me and God. Sometimes you gotta separate yourself and make time for you and God. I know you be wanting your family together with you all the time, but when they told me they would want ask me what it's okay for go. Y'all holding me up with my appointment time with the Lord. Go. Because it's our time. Go. I'm okay. I'm okay. So immediately as they left out, I cut on the TV. And there was the gospel station, always on the gospel station. And they were singing my big mother who was still living, not knowing that my father was in route after he left me. I'm thinking he going to Walmart with my mom and my mother, but I didn't know because they didn't tell me that he was en route to go get his mother, my big mother, who I used to sit next to and sing the praises of God. They was playing her favorite song. Hold to his hands, God's unchanging hand. You are to hold to his hands, God's unchanging hand. They was playing that. So I just began to sing and worship, 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 worship. I felt new. I felt complete. I felt whole. And I was no longer in fear. Because before I had some fear there, a lot of fear. Because I'm walking in the unknown. But now I'm strong in my faith. I'm good. I'm ready to go on whatever we got to go on. I'm ready. So the next morning, here come my daddy with my big mama. Here come my mother and my husband was there. And I told him, I said, Mom, I got to use the bathroom. So she helped me to the bathroom and I just began to urinate and it looked like I couldn't stop. It wasn't no stopping of me urinate. They said, my mom said, just said, I said, Mom, give me the Bible. I was going to be here a minute. When I opened that Bible, I began to see the angels dancing all over the word of God. I could see them. And I just began to laugh and cry at the same time. And my mama said, I said, Mama, I wish you could see what I could see. I said, he told me that I would be able to see the angels that he has given charge over me, that they will be camped all around me. I said, he tells us in his word that his angels protects his word. They are here. They with me. I see them. They there with me. And I began to hear footsteps. I said, Mama, that's the heart doctor. He's coming down the hallway. Open that door for the heart doctor. I just immediately knew. I was able to hear through the walls. All the way down the hall, I knew the footsteps of my doctor. He was coming to see me. And God said, here is the root of your problem. He's finna reveal it to you. So Mama cleaned me up, closed the Bible, sat back down on the bed. I sat in position because I said, Mom, I don't want to lay down in the bed. Let me sit up. Let me sit on the side of the bed. Let me sit up. Pull the IV, the thing, pull it on the pole. Come on, I'm sitting on the side. I don't want to be laying down in the bed. I want to sit up. I was sitting up and they opened the door. He was standing right there. He was getting ready to knock because I told him to open the door. His hand was just like this. I said, come on in. He was an older man. And he looked at me. He had to fix himself because he was crying. And I said, Tony, my husband, give him a Kleenex. So wipe your tears. Go ahead and tell me what's going on. He said, Miss Turner, this is the best way I can put it. He said, the root of your problem is your heart. You have congested heart failure. My mama she just lost her mind. She just began to scream. I said, now. I said, Mama, calm down. Hold your peace. Let him finish. He said, your heart is worse than a 80-year-old that has suffered multiples of heart attacks. It's worse. Never seen the shape of a 23-year-old with this type of condition. He said, your heart has not only stopped functioning, majority of the percentage, your heart is only at 5%. That's the only thing you got is pumping, is 5% of it. Your ejection fraction is only 5%. He said, we don't know what to do with you because you're too fragile, because your heart is not releasing and sending the blood like it need to your other organs. Your other organs have shut down in your body. Your kidney, your gallbladder, your liver, all of that. Because the heart keeps everything else flowing. So I said, what percentage did you say? He said 5%. I said, that's my number. That's God's number. Grace is with me. He said, Miss Turner, what you taught? I said, that's the perfect number. He said, no, Miss Turner. He said, your heart's supposed to be pumped between 50 to 55, 56. It said 5. I said, no, doctor. 5 is a good number because grace is with me. I'm going to be okay. I said, fix your face. Miss Turner gonna be all right. I said, go get your staff because God is waiting on y'all. And he got a structure of how to take care of me. Detail. It's going to take all of y'all because I know you done brought in some more people because you're walking in fear. Don't walk in fear. Walk in faith. You've been doing this for a long time. I said, now God is just elevating you. Letting you know that he's God and he's also with you. He's with me. He got y'all. He's giving you wisdom. He's giving you insight on what to do. Go meet with your committee. I'm okay. And he looked at me. He said, out of all of my years of practice, I have never seen a woman of such faith. Because I never seen a woman with your age in this condition. He said, you done encouraged me. I said, I'm okay, go do what you got to do. I'm ready. I said, what's the next step? He said, well, we got to move you out of this room, put you in the heart intensive care unit. I said, well, go get the wheelchair because Miss Turner is ready to get it over with. Because I knew I was close. I was close. I was getting there. Don't hold me back. Go do what you got to do to get me. I got a cross to go to. Huh. Go do what you must do and come on. I'm ready to get it over with. So the nurse, my two nurses appeared with this wheelchair. They pulled me, lifted me up, got all my little stuff because I had a little package with me. I was like a little bag lady. Had so many IVs and this and this and this running on. So many, poles. My pole was loaded. They had me. So right before we crossed over to the ICU unit in the heart department, there was a rail on the floor, a trimming on the floor was silver. It was like a crossover to divide the two parts of the regular hospital and the intensive care. I said, before we cross over, let me shout and cry now. I said, stop. I told my two nurses, stop. Let me get it out. I just began to cry. I screamed. They weeping. I just screamed. It was a scream of relief because finally my pain and my agony is about over with. I told him this is my last tears that I have cried. The rest of the tears I'm gonna cry gonna be a cry of nothing but pure joy and happiness. And I'm gonna be in good health. Let's go. Let's cross on over. They took me on to this room. They got me had me set up and all this other type of stuff. They said, Miss Turner, they come back, so we got to do heart surgery on you on a Thursday. This was a Sunday. So we're going to because we got to get you set up and everything and get you prepared and continue to talk with the doctors to make sure what we're going to do is what we're going to do. We don't want to rush in it, but we do want to rush in it. So I said, okay. It was April the 7th was the day of my surgery. So that Monday, so my big mama was already there. Because my dad had brought her back. And dad said, I got your big mama to stay with you. This the big mama. That was my ride. That was the person I used to ride with. Me and big mama. We going to Macy's and Goldsmith, and we going to Cato's and Targets and all these Shoe City, going different. Me and her. Out all this time that I have spent with her, I'm cooking with. She teaching me how to make homemade biscuits. She teaching me the new songs that we're going to sing in church. But she never told me her testimony until then. It was me and her on a Monday. She came, she stood over my bed, and she put her hand on my chest, on my heart. She said, babe, I want to tell you something because now is the time for me to tell you. I said, yes, ma'am. She said, I am transferring my healing inside of you. It's a big mama. So I receive it. She said, no, baby. You receive it, but I want you to have understanding what you are receiving. She said, I watched you go through all this. I listened to you over the phone. I listened to you, my son calling me, crying, so he don't know what to do. I'm listening to your mama screaming and hollering, crying, don't know what to do, don't know what to think. I just listen. Now it's time for me to tell you that when I was in my younger years, I was washing dishes. Your granddad was out in the pasture because they had cows that my granddad attended to. They lived on the pasture. And she said he was out there tending to the cows. And I was cooking for you, Big Daddy. And all of a sudden, my side just opened up, a hole just opened up, and water and blood just began to be released from my side, just poured out. And then I just collapsed in the floor. When your Big Daddy found me, on the floor in a puddle of my own water and blood. Ambulance, we out in the country. So it would be quicker for him to take me there for them to get to me. He picked me up and threw me in the car, rushed me to the nearest hospital, to the ER. They rushed me in. The doctor's trying to figure out how could this be, because she was in perfect health, never had anything happen. She said by the time they got to get ready to rush and do immediately surgery to close me up, she said while they was in there prepping, God had done closed me. I had done went to heaven to receive healing. God said, I'm bestowing upon you healing. You got to keep it. I'm putting it inside of you for such a time. She said, this is the time. She said, immediately he closed up my wound, my open hole. I got up off the table. I met the doctors coming in. I told George, my husband, let's go. I was fine. They checked me out. They ran all types of tests for me. Couldn't find nothing. She said, so I went there. This moment happened for this moment, for me to transfer the healing inside of you. And as she began to pray over me, I felt heat, like if electricity was inside of me. I was connected to a socket or something. And it was that power. I was being filled. Healing was transferred from into me. So I didn't have no more of the throwing up and the more of the spitting up and the more urinating on myself, not having no control. I was at peace. I was good. I had this charge in me that she put inside of me, that God gave to her to give to me. I was ready to go. I was waiting on Thursday. Thursday came April the 7th, 2005. They came. I called my mom and dad because I had to go back and get some stuff from how they left that Wednesday night after visiting with me. They left and they come back. They said, we come. I called them early in the morning, 4 o'clock. I said, come on, I'm ready to go. Don't hold me up. Dad said, I ain't never in my life seen a child ready to have surgery. I said, because I got to get it over with. You don't know what I know. You haven't felt what I felt. I'm ready to get this cross over with. Let's get it over with. So as soon as my parents and my husband got there, they immediately started prepping me and getting me ready. They took me to this room and they said, Miss Turner, we got to tie you down. They stretched my arms out wide. They tied me down. They put this white sheet over me. I couldn't see the lower part of my body. They put my feet together and kind of pushed up my knees a little bit and tied my feet down. And they said, this is the way we got to do it. This is the procedure. So they said, we got to go because the doctor, we all got to come together, make sure we done dotted our I's and crossed all of our T's and make sure everybody's clean up. She said, baby, you got a whole entourage. They done call people from all over the United States to come tend to you because they want to know how this going to be. What's the outcome? I said, okay, go do what you got to do. They laid me back there. I was laying back there for look like forever in this emerged in this surgery room. And then in my left ear, I heard Satan come and say, that was your last time seeing your family. It was cold on this side. This last time you seeing your family, that was the last time you talking to them. This is it. I got you. Ha! Because they got the cut on you. You too weak. You ain't gonna make it. Your heart too weak. You ain't gonna make it. I got you. You ain't gonna be able to do nothing for the Lord because you finna die. Then this side was like heat, like fire, the right side. And I heard the Spirit of the Lord to say out your mouth, I shall live and not die and declare to do the works of the Lord. When I said that, the devil, he fled. He couldn't do nothing but to flee because it is written in his word. I didn't even know that was in the Bible, in the scripture. I hadn't even made it that far. It's in Psalms and then in the New Testament. I didn't find it out till after I was released from the hospital. And I said exactly what is written in the word of God. He got to flee because it is written. So immediately after he left, Satan left. The nurses come in, the doctors, the whole entourage. It was like an army of them. They coming in. It sounded like they was marching on one accord. And they was ready. And they was anxious because I'm delicate. I'm fragile. They trying to figure out how this gonna turn out. It's like a story to them that they are part of. They want to know the outcome of it. But I never saw nobody face but that one nurse that had been with me the whole time. The other nurse that had been with me, she was helping assist the doctor. I never seen the doctor's face. To this day, I don't even know who this man is. He's a foreigner, not from the United States, not from here. Never seen his face, only heard his voice. And he said, Mrs. Turner, he said, we cannot put you to sleep until after we make the incision for your defibrillator. He said, now this is the reason why we tied you up, because most time when we do this procedure, that people come and punching at us. They try to rise up and hit us and get up from here, because we cannot put you to sleep until after we go inside of you, after we make the pocket for your defibrillator. He said, now I'm going to, first thing you're going to feel is my cut, my tool, my knife. I'm going to cut where I need to put your defibrillator to make a pocket. I'm going to cut your flesh. Then once I cut it, then I'm going to use the blowtorch, the torch, because I got to burn some the fat away, the flesh away, to make an incision, a pocket from for your defibrillator, from your defibrillator / pacemaker. And then I got to sew it back up. Sew it back up. And when you cannot take the pain, just tell me when to stop. I'll give you breathing time. Give you breathing time. This procedure lasts a long time. This will take a long time. I said, okay, I'm ready. Let's go. Whew. He began to cut my flesh. No pain. I did not feel. God had a smile to come over me on lock mode. I couldn't stop smiling. I didn't feel no pain. And the nurse had said, she began to cry. Same nurse I done prophesied to, the Spirit of the Lord come up on me, prophesied. The same nurse that's been with me. The same nurse I told her, stop. Don't let me cross over from one part of the hospital to the next hospital till I cry it all out. And when I get over here, I'm going to shout for joy. The same nurse, she was with me. She said, this baby is smiling through all of this. The doctor got the blowtorch. I could smell him, my flesh being burnt. Didn't feel a thing. Nothing. I felt him putting the defibrillator inside to make it fit. Didn't feel a thing. I felt him pulling my flesh, covering it back up to sew it back up. Didn't feel a thing. He said, baby, what kind of strength you got? I couldn't say a mumbling word. I just kept a smile on my face. And the nurse had said, strength from on high. The Lord is with this baby. So I heard the Spirit of the Lord in my right ear say, it is finished. And that's when the anesthesiologist said, now I can give you the good stuff. Finna knock you out. And I went. And I was in a rest mode. The best sleep I have ever had in my life. I thought riding in the ambulance was a good ride and good rest. No, this rest never have ever I felt before. Free from everything. Just rest mode. Nothing troubling me, nothing bothering me, nothing aching me, nothing stressing me, nothing irritating me. I'm in rest mode. Everything's relaxed. Everything is at peace. Everything is in comfort zone. So I awakened, prophesied. I'm in the recovery room, prophesying. The Spirit of the Lord, prophesying. They taking me back to the room. I'm in the hallway. They carry me down, wheeling me down on the bed. I'm prophesying. I couldn't control it. It was uncontrollable. They put me in my room and locked my bed down. I'm prophesying to every soul that was in there or that walked in there. I couldn't control it. And once the spirit of prophecy calmed down and just settled, I went back out. I slept, rest mode. When I finally was awakened, I looked up, I seen people just staring. Their eyes looked like they was big eyes, they Google eyes. Everybody staring at me. And I'm looking like, what in the world is y'all staring at? What is going on? They crying, they begin to weep. People, I'm looking at fear now because they know if they should come up to me or what should they do. They just didn't know. My husband, my mother, my father, the nurses, my big mama, my twin brother, my baby sister, my friend, nobody, my auntie's uncle, nobody knew what to do. Never seen it before. So I'm looking at that. I said, what y'all got going on? So I'm thinking I'm trying to sit, I'm ready to get up. So I'm still tied down. Still tied down. I'm tied down to the bed, to the railings. And I'm looking like, what? I want to touch, see, because I feel something heavy on my chest. Like, what is this? They had a rubber band about this thick wrapped around my body. They had me still tied down because they didn't want me to move. So I wouldn't get the defibrillator out of place, knock it out of place. So finally, my husband said, baby, people looking at you like this because you don't prophesy and told what thus said the Lord to every single soul that has entered into this room with you. You have prophesied to the people that was even walking down the hallway. They could not control it. So they trying to see what type of woman we're trying to see what we dealing with, to see if we need to run or we need to draw closer. Because some of the stuff you were saying to the people, I know these folks, they ain't even came back in the room because you exposed some sin, some hidden sin. The Lord working in you. He said, but God is all over you. So, I just wanted that moment. I just embraced that moment to embrace what all God was doing. And I'm looking, I'm observing. Finally, the doctor come in, all four, the brain, stomach, the liver. I mean, the brain, stomach, the heart, and the lung doctor. They all come in by the pack and said, Miss Turner. They said, baby, who are you? Because we have never experienced this ever before in our entire practice. We had to come together. Our team wants to come and introduce themselves to you, to meet you personally. We never experienced this. They said, Miss Turner, you died. And we was afraid to walk down the hall to tell your husband and tell your mother and father that you was gone. But we revived you. We shocked you 3 times. The first time, nothing. And we waited, nothing. You flatline, nothing. You dead, you gone, nothing. We said, shock again. Because we was afraid to come tell this family that you was gone. We hit you a second time. Nothing. Still flatline. Nothing. No life in the body. No signs of life in the body. Then we said we go try one more time before we walk this hallway. The third time we hit you. Boop, boop, life. It shows sign of life going across that screen. I looked at him, I said, 3 times, what's the number? That's what you had to do. And my heart doctor, he said, y'all, I told you she was something else. I said, what you got to say about that? I said, 3 times. I had to have the Father, God, the Son, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit. They come as a pack. You cannot go without one. I said, that was a good number. Y'all done a job well done 3 times. That's all it took. I said, in the earthly realm, it tells you 3 times strikes you out. I said, but in the spiritual realm, 3 times you in. I'm in here to live. So they said, well, Miss Turner, we're going to go on and tell you right now. Because we ain't got to keep coming back to you. Because we don't even know how to keep coming back to you. Because we come with something, you come with something else. We come with the bad, you come with the good. I said, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my house. And I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. And God told me that I shall dwell in his house here on this earth, because he said, let thy kingdom come. The kingdom has came, it is here. Next, I said, so go ahead and finish telling me what you got to tell me. My family is here. Ain't no sense of waiting till in the morning. We can get this over now. They said, Miss Turner, they said, well, you gonna be in a vegetable state. You are going to be in a vegetable state. We don't even expect you to live. We give you 3 months, maybe, possibly 3 months, because your heart's so weak, your liver, kidney, and all of it, it's barely pumping. Barely pumping. And your body's completely contaminated because your body for so long went without filtering out the toxin and bacteria. You completely contaminated. Even the blood. And I said, well, I had a blood transfusion that you know nothing about.
Amen.
The blood cleanses. And I said, you say I'm in a vegetable state, but God say I'm in good hands. I'm in his hands. So I'm in all state hand. I'm in all God. He says I'm in all of his hand. He got me. I'm in a good state. And I said that 3 months, I said, once again, it's the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. I said, just give me time. I said, when I keep coming back to you guys week after week, day after day, I said, you're going to see me I'm going to be stronger. And my heart going to become strong. I said, he going to show you just who he is, to prove to
Yes.
you who God is. So they said, Miss Turner, we go leave up out of here, because we don't care how what it is you got. I said, because it's God. So you don't know what I've been through. You don't know what I've seen. I done seen the glory, and I done found his promise, his promise to be true. I said, so I got this because God got me. You guys can go and tell your family. You guys can be a witness. This just not for me. You think this I went through just for me? No, that's for all of you guys to go back and be a witness. I said, these seeds he done sowed into the earth realm for you guys to become a believer. If you already believe, become stronger in your faith. This is not about me. He just using me. I'm just an instrument he chose to use to take on this level. So I said, I'm good. So that was the Thursday in the hospital. And Friday, guess what? Saturday morning, they released me to go home. Shining so bright. My family, like I said, was still there. Everybody went from Jonesboro to Blytheville, back in my mama's house. Everybody wait. I was like the queen coming home. They had everything laid out. Everybody, everybody was waiting on Shell. I was the last, because I was the last car to pull up. And everybody was standing outside waiting. My husband picked me up out the car, carried me in the house, sat me on the couch, and I sat down, and immediately the Spirit of the Lord began to work. Just work, work, work. I'm just constantly working, the Spirit working in my family. Ain't never been the same. So the news began to travel because my mom went back to work. My husband went back to work. People began to talk. My church people. In all of this, I didn't have not one. My pastors that I had here in Blytheville, not neither one of them, the pastor, the head pastor, or the sister pastor, came to the house or came to the hospital when I was going through this. God said he will lead you and guide you. He's the teacher. He's the comforter. He is the one. He's your spiritual father. Neither one of them came. It was God himself being my pastor, being my shepherd. I put my trust in him, not in man. It's good that we have pastors and we have preachers and teachers and all of these people in position, but I learned to never place nobody above Christ. So he was with me. So the news had done traveled to the church. So now here they come, because they want to be a partaker of this glory, but they want to partake of the suffering. But that's okay, because they just don't know that this suffering brought for glory that's going to bring a transformation in them and then within their church. Because when you get connected to the Holy Ghost, you're never the same. So these people was coming from everywhere. I ain't never seen these people ever before. I already know these people was coming from all over the United States, coming to my mom's house. And as they come, I'm sitting right there in that door, on that couch, but in front of that big old window where the light just shines so brightly in. And as they was coming in, the Spirit of the Lord was just getting them, encouraging them, strengthening them, guiding them, correcting them, chastising them, loving on them, embracing them. This me. I'm the one that had the heart failure. I supposed to be, you know, what they about thinking that I'm supposed to be weak and laying in the bed and, you know, pour on me having all this sympathy. No, I was the strongest one in the house because the greater one was inside of me, working through me. Because I decided on January the 1st, 2005, to commit myself to the Lord to present my body a living sacrifice where that God can transform me. So we going through all of this months and months and months. And finally my husband said, this enough. She got to get a rest. Because God began to speak to him and said, that's it. No more. I done said who's supposed to come. She got to get her rest. She got to recharge up. So I'm recharging up. I'm still doing this fast. I'm still not in it because my body is still at a state where I'm not able to eat meat. Couldn't eat no meat. Only meat that I had was the word of God. Now I'm able to eat vegetables and fruit, green beans, baked potatoes, stuff, something like that, but not a lot. So I'm constantly eating that, drinking my water. That's all I wanted was water, water. I had got rid of the sodas and all the fruit juices that, high in glucose and all those types of fructose and all. I just was thirsty for water, spring water, spring water. That's all I had. I did that for a while. Then my husband had people to stop coming to the house because God had told him I got to rest. I'm constantly fasting. I'm up early in the morning, communing with God, fellowshipping, praising God, tending to my children. I'm strong. And I'm getting, as I keep going to the doctor, everything is getting stronger. I went from 5% now to 10%, from 10% to 20%, from 20% to 35%, and I worked my God, worked my this hard all the way up to 55, because he had told me that he gave in the beginning the garden, that he created the garden for me to eat from the garden, nothing but from the garden. And my mom had done had this garden that she threw seeds in, and her crops come up like by the multitude and so fast. And my husband's a good cook. He's a good chef. He done worked at all these little restaurants, and he can work himself in the kitchen. So he was taking the fresh stuff that was coming out of the garden and feeding me. So now I'm not putting dead stuff in me, no meat, only living stuff. Your vegetable and fruits are living food. So I'm putting, God said, don't put nothing but living food inside of you. And I'm just eating the living. I'm eating the living. I'm eating the living in the earthly realm and in the spiritual realm, because I'm in this word day in and day. I ain't got nothing else to do but to praise the Lord. Nothing else to do but to praise the Lord. And that's the best thing that I could do, was continue to praise him in my worship, in my time of loneliness with him in the word, and just spending time, and sometimes just sitting in silence, just allowing him to minister to me. So I'm getting ready to end this testimony with this. I continue on that journey in 2000, in 2007, around November, I got sick. But the Spirit of God had been visiting to me in dreams. I kept seeing myself having a baby. And God said, you can tell this, your vision, only to your friend Pam and to your husband, not to your mama or to your family, because they go walk in fear because of the trauma that they have witnessed with you, the experience. Don't tell them just yet. Just wait. But you're going to give birth, because the doctor told you that you can't, but I'm telling you that you can. The doctor told you will never be able to be intimate with your husband, but you will. And I did. And I went started getting sick. So my mama, I'm throwing up. So she in panic mode. She threw me in the car. I ain't have no choice. She threw me in the car herself. My husband was at work. And she called my friend Pam. She picked her up. She stayed down the street. And here we go to the hospital. Not in Blythe. She took me back to St. Bernard because she's like, I ain't taking you nowhere but to St. Bernard. So we went to St. Bernard. She done called my doctors, done called the hospital, tell them I'm coming because they know me. They knew me. I'm familiar. So they said, well, we go get them. Come on and bring in. She ain't got to wait. We go have a situation. So they get me in. They take me. And the doctor come in, he said, Miss Turner, he said, before I take you through any x-rays, through any tests, he said, is there an possible chance that you're pregnant? I said, yes, sir. I said, yes, sir. He said, how do you know? I said, because the Spirit of God told me. I said, so I said, but I'm going to allow you to tell my mama this. I said, because I ain't going to tell her. I said, he said, you want me to? I said, you could tell her. Just you could tell her. I said, I'm going to allow you to tell her. I said, I know I'm pressed. I ain't took no pregnancy. I said, but I just know. I know that I am. Because he keeps showing me, keep telling me. And I said, it's a boy. It's a boy. He said, well, did he tell you? I said, yeah, his name is Josiah. I said, I gotta name him Josiah. I was gonna let you tell my mom. So he walked into the room. He told me, ain't nothing wrong with your daughter. Her heart is fine, it's still at 55%, everything functional. He said, your daughter is pregnant. She's with child. And my mama she just looking like she said, and so she done got angry. She angry at me. She ready to call my husband, but she can't call him at work, and she ready to go off on him. And I said, settle down. I said, God is with me. I said, this is my last child. He told me, and I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be okay. So we headed back. This is late at night. This is like midnight now. We headed back, leaving from the hospital and everything, from the ER. So I'm good at remembering numbers and everything. My husband he at the time worked at the steel mill, and they would go sometime and be in the break room. They had a phone in there. So it was only one time that he called me from that number, which was a while back, but I just remembered that number. So I told Pam, I said, Pam, pull your phone out and dial this number. And so she called, she pulled it out, and uh and Tony, he picked up the phone. Out of all the people that work there, he picked up the phone. I knew. She said, shit. I said, I'm telling you what the Spirit of God telling me. I said, give me the phone. He said, baby, what's going on? I said, baby, I said, hey, everybody, because just hang the phone. I just waved the phone up in the air. So everybody hollering, hey, Shell, and I said, Tony, I said, guess what? He like, baby, what? I said, baby, ain't nothing wrong with me. I said, I'm fine. I said, but guess what? You finna be a new daddy all over again. Everybody, they holler, oh, Tony. I'm here, I'm hollering everything. And so I had to talk to my mom. I said, Mama, I said, God done brought me this far. He ain't gonna leave us. I'm going to deliver my healing. I'm going to give birth to my healing. He got to come through. My complete healing and wholeness. Mm. I said, when I get done birthing this baby, I will be off all these prescription, this medication. I was taking over 32 pills. My pills was over $300 some a week. That's just a week's supply. Mm. And so I said, but when he get done with me, I'm gonna leave the hospital free of it all. Mm. And so July the 3rd, 2008, I gave birth to my healing, my baby, Josiah. And when I got to the house after giving birth to him, because I had to stay in the hospital a few days, longer than 2 or 3. They had to stay a little bit longer because they want to keep making sure I'm good and everything, keep running tests, make sure me and the baby good, because I was very high risk, because I had to, throughout my whole pregnancy, I had to travel weekly to Memphis, Tennessee, because they had a high-risk doctor come from New York to come visit me and to see me with a nurse practitioner that they had over there that was in connection with. But when the day of my delivery, he was here. He came and he delivered my baby. He was from New York. And so when I got home and got settled, and God had me to pick up the word of God, he said, now you know how to study. He said, look up that name Josiah, and it means God has healed. So I gave birth to my healing, and I left that hospital, and the doctors, after they done the examination, Miss Turner, you don't have to take no more medication, because when I found out I was pregnant with him, they cut me off all my medication that I was on, all my heart pills, my liver, my kidneys, my lungs, all this stuff, all it. high blood pressure, cholesterol, all those pills. I couldn't take not one because of the baby. So I went 9 months with no medication, and I left free with no medication when I left that hospital, and that's where I'm at today.
Wow.
So we, so that's where I'm at, and
Sister Michelle, you have one heck of an incredible, miraculous story. You articulated every detail so beautifully. I felt the glory of God. It was gripping the whole time. Have you written a book on your life story?
and I'm almost done writing that book. I'm at the
Good.
end part. I'm at the end part of it. And I told my husband I gotta finish it. I gotta get it out. I actually started teaching recently. It was on my birthday, August 8th of this year. I was sitting in the kitchen. I was
Mhm.
fasting. My family, when our birthday comes, today is my second son birthday, Ahmad. And so we started this thing now on our birthday. We don't eat anything. We give it back to the Lord. So we don't eat anything. So I was fasting on my birthday. And so I was sitting at the table, and and my husband, he kept walking. He said, why you just sitting there? I got to be still because God is speaking. And God had told me to contact this person. I contacted this person, and she come back and said, yes, because God was telling me you got to go out and teach. You got to start teaching.
Mhm.
My husband and I, we have a ministry on Facebook where we go live. It's called Kingship Transformation, because God gave us that name because, hey, the kingdom.
Yeah.
And in order to enter into the kingdom, you got to be ye transformed.
Mhm.
So it's kingship transformation oh 03. You have to have the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. So that's our mission. We do it live on Sundays. But on my birthday of this year, he told me to go start teaching. My calling is, he got seeds for me to drop in the schoolhouse.
Mm.
So he said, but when you get in the schoolhouse and you get your schedule, he told me to pick back up what you just said, finish my book, the
Mhm.
schedule it on the weekends to finish. I'm at the end. I'm at
Okay.
the end of it.
Well, you certainly shared such a compelling, amazing, miraculous story. I love how you said, suffering brought forth glory. And it started with that. And he just continually showed you in every part of your story
Mhm.
his hand, from the police angel to Big Daddy to the 3-year-old girl. I mean, there's just so many amazing parts to
Mhm.
your
Mhm.
testimony. So thank you so much for sharing today. And I would love it, Michelle, if there's anything that you want to share as we close that God's placing on your heart for anybody listening, and
Mhm.
to pray us out on that as well.
Okay. I was in the shower the other last weekend,
Mhm.
and I began to pray and fast. And when I got out, I couldn't leave out my bathroom.
Mm.
I just put my robe on. I just was walking the floor because God was beginning to speak to me. He said, give this to the people.
Mm.
And I reached out to this person who we're going to do what we called a transformative movement, not another revival, because God already done revive us, not another a conference, because God is talking to us in this book. We can have a conference every night, every morning in His Word. So He said,
Yeah.
but He told us to have a movement, because when He told us to go out, that's a movement. So it got to be a transformative movement. So He gave me this word to give to His people. He said, a prepared place for a kingdom takeover. This is the word that he gave me for his people. A prepared place for a kingdom takeover. And I said, God, what is you talking about? He
Mm.
said, anytime that the kingdom shows up, there's a place already prepared. In the beginning, God prepared a place for Adam, for all mankind to dwell in, for us to do what? Have a kingdom take over, to rule, to be dominated, to dominate it, to subdue it, to take care of it. He said, I had told the Elijah had told the widow woman, remember the widow woman?
Mhm.
When she said that her and her son was going to die.
Mhm.
And That was the last meal that they had. They was go eat that and die. Elijah said, go prepare me some bread.
Yeah.
Because while the kingdom had to enter into her house and it was going to take it over. And it brought forth life. Then I
Mm.
heard Jesus said, go prepare. He said, God had told us, I already done prepared me a body, a prepared place to send into this earthly realm to do
Mm.
what? Take it over, to bring back the kingdom. He told John the Baptist, John was a what? A preparer. He said, prepare ye the way for the Lord. And he
Mhm.
wants us to have that John the Baptist spirit to prepare the way for the Lord, to prepare a
Mm.
place for the second coming of the
Mm.
Lord. A lot of people, they look at the world and see the rumors of wars and see the sickness and the disease and all this stuff. He tell us in his word when he come back, he tell us, he said, when this message is preached, what message? The kingdom of God.
Yeah,
Everywhere Jesus went,
good.
he told his disciples, he said, preach this message. Why did he say this message? Because he knew other message was going to go out into the world. But he said, I want you to preach this message and say that the kingdom has arrived. Everywhere
Mm.
they went, they preached the kingdom. And he said, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added. And I understand what he said, seek ye the kingdom, because it's
Mm.
just like if you go into Walmart, you know, when you go into Walmart, you go find everything that you need. You ain't got to go preach or tell nobody that there's food in there, that there's clothes in there, there's shoes. They know that. And they need that. So they go to Walmart. So they seek
Mhm.
Walmart. And God said, you don't have to preach prosperity. You don't have to preach healing. You don't have to preach all of this other stuff that we continue to highlight to preach. He said, but
Just
if you seek the kingdom, all
mm.
those things are going to be added. Just like when you go into Walmart, everything that you need is inside of Walmart because you seek. He said, seek me the same way that the people of in this earth realm is seeking out the Walmart. Go and seek the kingdom because everything you need is in. And so that's the reason why each time that Jesus preached the word of God, he preached the kingdom. And then he said he preached the kingdom and then he healed. He preached the kingdom
Mm.
and he rebuked. He preached the kingdom of God. He cast out spirit. So it's got to be a prepared place for a takeover. So now he caused me to understand when he called me in 2005 to fast, what was Shell doing? Shell was preparing a place for the kingdom of God to come in and take over. So
Mm.
this is the message that God wants because we, the children of God, we have to do what? Prepare the way for the king. Anytime that you see in the natural realm, when
Mm.
the kings and the queens of this earth, their way is already prepared. They prepare 2 or 3 years. They already get things set in order. People already know the king or the queen is coming to the United States. When Queen Elizabeth come here, they already had everything set in order for her a year or two ahead because what they were doing, preparing the way. We have to prepare the way for our king. We are in charge of bringing back Jesus Christ by preaching the kingdom and
Okay.
quit seeking after all these things.
So
So
you're saying to prepare the way is to preach the kingdom?
it's the kingdom. It's the kingdom. And everything that you need is in the kingdom. It's in the kingdom. It's in the kingdom. That's when he tells us to seek ye first the kingdom. Because everything that we need, everything that I needed, that's the reason why he pulled me into
Mm.
his kingdom, into his
Yeah.
country.
I was just gonna say you went to the heavenly
I
kingdom.
went there
Mm.
because everything I needed was there. Everything.
And you came back different, didn't you? Because
I
you were alive over there.
Yes, 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 yes. So we as the children of God, as believers, we have to prepare a place. When I'm saying prepare a place, this is the place, your temple.
Mm.
This is the temple of the Holy Spirit. When he tell us to fast, he does not tell it for a religious act. He's telling you to purify yourself, to crucify your flesh. Because the Holy Spirit going to come in. That's the reason why he says in Matthew 5 and 8, he says, only the pure in heart shall see God.
Praise God, yeah.
That's the kingdom coming in. That's God coming in. So we have to prepare a place. You prepare a place. When you fast, you are preparing a place for the kingdom to come inside of you and take over because it's going to overshadow everything else. Because when the kingdom is present, everything else that's around you have to get in order. And see, the world is out of order. And why? Because we're not preparing a place for him, which he tells us to present our bodies in Romans 12 and verse 12 and 2, to present our body a living sacrifice. That's how you prepare for the kingdom to come and take over.
Now, Michelle, going back real quick, I have a question. So you started this with the fast. You're
Mm-hmm.
23 years old, and you were demonically attacked. You were young in the Lord. That was your first experience seeing
Mm-hmm.
into the spiritual realm, and you saw the dark side.
Mm-hmm.
And now that you've grown, you know about the kingdom, you're where you're at today. Do you still see into the dark demonic, or do you see now more angels? And what does that look like? Because I've heard as you go to heaven and come back, you do have more gifts into the spiritual realm. Plus, with the fasting, tell us a little bit about that.
Now I see my spirit of discernment is strong. I could see spirits and people. I could see them. I could
Mm.
see them. I can I can I can know their motives. I can know if they're good or bad. The angels. Matter of fact, I'm glad you brought this up. About a week ago, I was taking my husband to work. He working at another place, still going the same direction. 4 o'clock, no, about 5 o'clock in the morning. And I dropped him off. I was fasting. I had dropped him off. And traffic, these a lot of men going to these steel mills, because it's a lot of steel mills out there. There's just not one, it's several of them. So these men, they driving fast to get to work, because they don't want to be late. So the traffic is heavy coming back. So I'm in this curve. It's a deep curve. This car, I'm in the curve. This car jumped out to pass. We was this close. And my angel, I saw, stood right there in front of my car. I didn't have time to hit the brakes. He stood in front of my car. He pushed the car that was supposed to hit me head on collision, either kill me or to injure me bad. He was in a old school Jeep, that good material, that real metal. He pushed that truck over. Not the truck didn't go over. The truck was pushed, just like boom, pushed over. And all the other cars that was coming, he pushed them all over to the side. And my car, it bounced up and down because of the force of the angel that was standing there. Stopped my car. And I'm looking like, whoo! And I just said, Jesus. And I looked. I was the only car that was on the road. My angels were standing. I could see them. Just this white fog. I'm standing in front of my car. It wasn't foggy that morning. No fog at all. That angel was in front of my car. He done moved all of the cars off the road. Then nobody else moved till Michelle Turner started moving and got off that street and turned off onto another street. That's when I got to that stop sign, which was on up the road, and made that left to go on to my house, to continue my journey to my house. That's when all the other cars got back on the road and started moving again. That was my angel. This is what I see. This is what I see.
Mm.
What I see. I try to stay in a fasting state, because if I had not been obedient when God told me to fast, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. I'll either be dead or in the hospital. That was my angel. That was
Yeah.
right there, right there.
Wow.
And I kept on, as I was driving on to the house. I just was screaming and hollering and crying hysterically. Jesus, just thank you. I couldn't stop thanking. When I pulled in my driveway, that's when I called my husband. When he answered the phone, and he normally don't answer the phone because he in the cinema, but he had just walked into his office, because he's a supervisor out there now, and he had just walked into his office to go get to cut on his computer and stuff, to see what was the next thing they had to start processing. And he was able to pick up that phone. I started screaming and I was crying, and he went into praise and worship. Went into
Yeah.
praise and worship. Then I got in the house. I had to still be at work because I just started the job. This like this now like 5:35. I got to now try to get ready to get myself together, be at school at 7:15, and still try to have my son, my baby boy Josiah. He's the only one in school now. Have him at school, which is on another side of the town that we live. So I couldn't do nothing. I got in this house. I went into my closet, kneeled down, and I just praised and worshiped him. When I got done kneeling, praise, I called my mama. I called my mama phone. And she had said God had woke up at 3 o'clock. She said she just began to pray and she was reading her words. She said she couldn't go back to sleep. My dad had said, Faye, won't you go back to sleep? And she said, I can't. She said, I can't. She said, something is going on. She said, something going on. That's what it was. She said, I just started screaming, and my mama had me on speakerphone, and my dad, he was just crying and he hollering like, he hollering hysterically and everything. And my children, my two sons that's here, because my oldest son is over in my mom's house, they come in the closet, they look like, Mom, what's going on? And I'm just messed up because God done did it again. Yeah.
That's amazing, Michelle. So, last question here. So, Michelle, thank you so much again for sharing your incredible, miraculous story of going to heaven, coming back, and sharing everything that you shared today. And again, to pray us out with what you sense right now in the spirit.
God bless you. Father God, we come to you saying thank you, Lord God, for this is the day that you have made, and we shall rejoice and be glad in it, oh Lord God. God, you called us to be disciples, to go out and preach the word. God, we are preaching your word about the kingdom that you said, seek ye first. This is the word for every believer and all those who are unbelievers, to every child that God has created, that he said to seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. That's the key. We got to get back into right positioning with the Lord, in right standing with him. And all these things that we get up and work for, that we drive for, that we sweat for. He said you ain't got to do all that, because all these things will be added once you seek ye first the kingdom. That is the word of God for the children of God, for the people of God, for the believers and the unbelievers, to the doubters and to those are that is filled with faith, that to seek ye first. We got to go back seeking the kingdom, not seeking things and not seeking position, not seeking people, but seeking the kingdom of God. And everything that we need will be added, will be multiplied unto us, and get back in right standing. That's the key, because we leave out that part, is seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. God, we thank you for this ministry, that this ministry will continue to grow. And God, take it on another level, on a kingdom level. Bless their this show, this family, this ministry, their household, everything that they need. God, I thank you right now for already multiplying. I thank you for all their needs are met. I thank you for blowing their mind. I thank you, God, and for your children that will come on here, that they will be transformed by the renewing of their mind. God, we will be drawn back to you. We will be drawn back to your love. And this is the word of God, that we must seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. And all of these things will be added. We got to quit chasing the things, seeking the things, and start seeking back the kingdom. God bless you and God keep you. And this is the word of God. In Jesus Christ's name, amen.
Woo! Amen.